Can you figure out how many tiles are in my jar?
You're about to see some kindergarten students from the Downtown Denver Expeditionary School do a counting jar assessment. Afterward, you'll see a colleague and I as we reflect on how the students performed on the assessment. I was wondering if you could tell me how many tiles I have in my jar. You got this.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 17, 19, 18, 19, 30, 31, 33, 34, 38, 39,
Are you going to organize them and then count them? Okay.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 25, 26, 43, 44, 44,
How many tiles were there?
44.
Okay. Nice work.
A lot happened.
Yeah, it was interesting to see how he lost his place so many times when he had to take time to count. But when he was able to just keep counting, he was able to remember the sequence of the numbers.
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah.
So I feel like his one-to-one correspondence is solid.
I think so too. I marked it slightly in between solid and sloppy only so he double counted one tile and then the rest he did accurately.
Well, and it was pretty impressive because when I saw the way that he was organizing the tiles, I was worried he was going to totally lose track.
I know.
And he did a pretty decent job of
He did
keeping track
well.
of what he had counted.
I feel like solid, the only
Okay.
sloppiness was that one double count.
Okay.
What do you think for keeping track?
The way that he kept track in his mind was pretty impressive given how tricky his setup was. In a way,
Yeah.
he was organized. His rows were very straight and he actually adjusted them so that they would be straighter.
Yeah.
And because of the way he created a box, it seems like inside there were still, it was a similar amount in each one.
I agree. I think this phrasing of student organizes the tiles in a way that helps them keep track as they count and would make it very easy to double check. I feel like that's where he was definitely organizing in a way that helped him keep track. But when he did go back and double check, it was the organization of his tiles that led to the error because there wasn't a clear, I've counted these ones, I haven't.
Yeah.
So I think it would be weak evidence, but I think he's really close to deliberate and careful.
And he didn't have group size, so uneven or
Yeah,
random
definitely
groups.
not that. Yeah, I
And
think
then
so.
he knew, in fact, after he finished, he looked at me to say,
Yeah.
44, he didn't say 44 tiles, but
Yeah.
he knew I was going to ask.
Yeah, and then just that minor error.
So then it's between emerging, and he's not quite proficient because it's not solid.
We would want him to definitely be accurate.
Yeah.
For proficient. I definitely don't think he's limited. I think he really falls into this
Emerging
category. Yeah.
All right. I have these tiles. I was wondering if you could tell me how many tiles I have in my jar.
1, 2, 3, 4, 23, 24, 25, 26, 41, 42, 43.
Wow, that's amazing, Magda. How many tiles did I have?
43.
Nice work. All right, is there anything you could do to count these tiles in a different way? What could you do?
Count by tens.
You could count by tens. What would you need to do to be able to count by tens?
Put one of these in each row.
Okay. What do you mean put one of these in each row?
Put this right here.
Oh, okay. Why do you need to do that?
Because there's 9 in the row.
Okay. All right, do you want to double check your work?
Mm-hmm.
Will you count out loud so I can hear you?
10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44.
Okay, how many tiles now?
44.
Okay. Nice work, Magda.
So I thought the double check with her was great, just to kind of see what she was capable of. I think I just wouldn't give her any more beyond that because, yeah, we saw the errors she made. We don't want to like over prompt. Okay, what'd you notice?
So I noticed she did start her first row at 9, and then she continued to do rows that were shorter than 10. But I was amazed at how quickly she was able to make that adjustment at the end when she did double check to realize she just needed to move one tile over. So I noticed that she did a great job of counting. She didn't have any questions at the decades. She was very careful in organizing her tiles. Well, actually, that's a question because her rows weren't perfectly straight.
Yeah.
And so would you have marked that deliberate and careful, or it wasn't weak?
I agree. I think looking at the description, so student organizes tiles in a way that helps them keep track as they count and would make it very easy to double check.
Okay.
I think even though her rows were a little uneven, they weren't like running into each other.
Yeah.
So
They weren't curvy.
I think deliberate and careful makes sense. And then organization.
I had uneven or random groups. They weren't random, but they weren't even. And even when she went back to reorganize the second time in her double check, she had a row of 9 still.
Yeah, she was like so close. And I think she was trying to make groups of 9. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm out of space. Maybe it was, but she knew there were 9 because then when you asked her to double check, she's like, oh, I just moved 1 to make 10. So that was cool. Yeah. Okay, and then cardinality.
She immediately answered with 43.
Yeah, and so even though she was inaccurate for that second one, I think we're fine to mark her as accurate. I'm just going to say first try. Okay, so then looking at this, where do you feel like she falls in general?
Well, I think it's between proficient and emerging because she was solid in her counting and she was deliberate and careful. Yeah, maybe it is proficient because she had meaningful groups. She was solid in cardinality. She said number only, no unit, and accuracy. So actually she meets all of those.
I think so. Especially because she showed us if she had had accurate rows, she would have been exemplary. I definitely feel like she can proficiently count. I think she's like right on the border for organization, but I agree. I think proficient overall. I'm wondering, can you help me figure out how many tiles are in my jar? I'm gonna move this out of the way.
5, 10. 15, 35, 40, 43,
How many tiles were there?
43.
Well done, my dear. I see just what you did. Thank you so much. Okay, he definitely had solid one-to-one correspondence. I think he could have been slightly more organized with his tiles, but like he definitely was organizing in a very, very deliberate way that helped him, keep careful track.
What would you wanted to have seen?
There were just some of those 5 groups that were like starting to overlap with each other. And so part of me wonders if that would lead to errors in the future when he has a larger number. But I think it caused no issues. So I
Partly
feel
was on the
comfortable.
carpet too,
Yes.
right? And then I marked groups of 5 and he skip counted.
Yeah.
And he could keep track of where he was at. So that was awesome.
He was solid in his cardinality. He knew right away how many tiles, but number only. And then he was accurate.
Yep. So 43.
I feel very confident that he is exemplary on this.
I agree. We hope that this video about the assessment helps you understand that it's not something that's totally out of your wheelhouse to be able to do, and that the data you can get from it can help your students grow and feel successful in their math ability.